This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. Migrants from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and other countries are gathering in shelters in Arizona, waiting for their chance to apply for asylum. Volunteers there are seeing the need for the use of different Indigenous languages to be used to communicate with people, especially when it comes to health care. Melinda Tuhus reports.
A former Benedictine monastery in Tucson has been converted to a temporary shelter for migrant families who have turned themselves in to the U.S. Border Patrol and have passed a credible fear hearing. They are provided with food, clothing, medical care, toys for the children, and arrangements for transportation to the homes of their sponsors, where they will continue the process of trying to win asylum. Most of the families are from Guatemala, and an estimated 40% of those are from Guatemala's many indigenous communities. Rocio Zamora orients the volunteers and gives a tour of the facility. One of the stops is a small room where guests can see a nurse or doctor. On the walls are 3 life-size paper outlines of the human body, showing the locations of all the internal organs. Zamora explains.
When we have families with health problems especially, and they don't speak Spanish, they bring it here, and these are the main indigenous languages: Poptit, Mam, Quich, Quiche, and some others, and we ask them to point to what part of the body is hurting, and they see the name and they just say yes. So this helps a lot, especially for health problems, to understand for the medical team what exactly is that they have.
While most of the members of the various indigenous communities passing through the monastery also speak Spanish, being able to communicate in one's first language is very important for those who don't. The migrant guests spend 2 to 4 days at the monastery, sleeping on cots set up in the sanctuary and in dozens of bedrooms. For National Native News, I'm Melinda Tuhus.
A U.S. House subcommittee is scheduled to hold a field hearing in North Dakota on voting barriers Native people face. The Bismarck Tribune reports the hearing will be held on the Standing Rock Reservation Tuesday. Witnesses include representatives from tribes and voting rights advocates. The Native American comedy troupe, the 1491s, share humor on different platforms, and as KLCC's Brian Bull reports, the group's video skits are now a theatrical production.
The 1491s take no prisoners. Whether it's Old West bravado, New Age shamanism, or even Native society itself, anything's game. In this video, they depict Indians auditioning for the Werewolf Pack in the Twilight movie series, being coached by a cultural advisor.
The spirits will be here, so make sure that you do it in a respectful way so you don't anger them and they kill you in your sleep.
Now the 1491s have written a play, Between Two Knees, co-commissioned with New Native Theater and performed at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Ashland through October. Co-writer Bobby Wilson of Sisseton, Wahpeton, Dakota. He says he enjoys turning the tables on white people in the colonial storyline.
I don't think that we go easy on Indians either. I think that there's some very biting criticisms about people from our own communities within this play as well, and I'm curious to see how that is perceived by our audiences.
The story occurs between the Wounded Knee Massacre of 1890 and the Wounded Knee Occupation of 1973. Highlights include a boarding school fight sequence, an interstellar musical number, and one unforgettable explosion. For National Native News, I'm Brian Bull.
And I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced by Koahnic Broadcast Corporation with funding by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Support by the law offices of Sonosky, Chambers, Saxe, Miller, and Monkman, a national tribal rights law firm with offices in Washington, D.C., New Mexico, California, and Alaska, and online at www.sonosky.com.
Support by BNSF Railway, moving our economy for over 165 years. Our vision is to operate injury and accident-free with safety programs, training, and technology. More at bnsf.com/tribal relations.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.